Joining me now from Beijing is Qu Qiang, a consultant at the International Poverty Reduction Center of China. So what's the big picture here and the goal of having Hainan as a port designation? What could it mean and what could Hainan become in the future? What can it look like in 10 years from now?
Well, if you're familiar with Chinese reform and opening up history, you will always know Hainan, even though a small island, but always a pioneer of reform and opening up. And even before Shenzhen and Guangdong has got into the size what it is right now, Hainan has already been spearheaded in the reform and opening up. And Hainan, which has a very unique, geographical, advantage, it's an island. So it's very easy for the border control, better for the immigration control, and also better for like the cargo shipment control. And also we can make a lot of more advanced and more pioneering policies to be implemented in here. And then if it works, it can be amplified and spread it to some other places in China. Like China has ever tried most of its policies since reform and opening up in the very beginning. So Hainan has been designated as one of the free trade port, which means Hainan is going to enjoy the highest level of opening and reform policies in China, which shows the leadership of China really have a strong determination to make this economy to be opener to a higher level, probably more than a lot of people's imagination. And you're going to see probably in this island, they're going to adopt the system used in Hong Kong or Singapore or in other kind of open economies like we have ever known.
So most people know Hainan as a tourist destination. It's very beautiful. The weather is great. So for now, describe the importance of this island in China's economy.
Well, they used to be a very famous tourism resort for sure, but like a lot of the tax haven or free trade port in the whole world, they share the same nature. And if the whole policy set works in Hainan, I think the policy set will be amplified and duplicated to Shanghai and Shenzhen and probably inner part of the Chinese mainland. And then you're going to see a fully open up China in the future, and which will enables international trade and international financial integration in a very near future. So I think this shows a very important signal to the rest of the world. China is going to opening up even more, not closing itself up.
Well, China has created several of these special free trade zones in the past decade. How have they helped China achieve its goals of reform and opening up so far?
Well, China always followed the philosophy of opening up and reform, which is we call it cross the river by filling the stones. So when China are not sure whether the opening up policies can generate the influences in the big country with a big population in China, so it tries out in an experimental zone, which is the free trade zone, like we have used to see. But the scale of the opening is quite limited in the previous zones. But in Hainan, due to the advantage of the border control and shipment control, so it can be opened up to a more extreme level, more than China used to experience. And so if it works in Hainan, we can duplicate these things into the other zones and then probably into a larger area. So I think this is really important in the new century, and also it's quite new to not only Chinese, but also to international investors.
And very quickly, I've got to ask about the pandemic and an update there, how the pandemic has impacted China's free trade zones over the past year and what the outlook is in the months ahead.
Well, I think the most important influence is to the border control. China are ready to welcome all the people to come to Hainan Island, but due to the COVID-19, the procedure has been slowed down a little bit. But as the COVID-19 has been easing right now, and with the COVAX been introduced, I think we're going to open up really, really soon. And Hainan, with the border control advantage, I think will be the first stop to welcome all the international investors and the traders.
All right, Qu Qiang, thank you so much for joining us from Beijing. We appreciate your insight.